Hi, I'm Lucas Gilkey with Hometown Hero, and thank you for joining us. Today we're going to cover what happened last legislative session, what's going on with our lawsuit with the state of Texas and Department of State Health Services, and what's upcoming for this current legislative session. Thank you for joining us, and let's go ahead and start. So, last legislative session was very interesting. We ended up coming up some pretty heavy opposition for what we do with hemp-derived cannabinoids. We largely believe it was people that were just unfamiliar with what the products are and how they work. And so really a big portion of what we're trying to do now is educate the people involved in the policymaking process. So we ended up with a pretty solid win last legislative session. There were some attempts to make what we do illegal, and they subsequently failed. Now, what was interesting was in the October after the legislative session, there was a notice put on the DSHS website that essentially said that what we did with Delta 8 was a felony. So we had no choice but to sue. And we are currently involved in that lawsuit. Now, where the lawsuit went and what happened. So initially we filed for an emergency injunction, which was denied, and we expected that to happen. Emergency injunctions are typically for life endangerment, right? After that, the temporary injunction was granted, and the court and the judge are essentially siding with us, saying that they believe that we're going to win the court case by granting that temporary injunction. Now, once that temporary injunction was granted, the state subsequently filed an appeal and also tried to take it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court denied the case and shot it back down to the lower level court, and currently it's tied up in the appellate court in Travis County. So in regards to the last legislative session, the court case, that's kind of where we are. We are going to this legislative session with the intention of making it so the lawsuit can be thrown out. Just to be blunt, we can do things in this legislative session which essentially make what is attempting to be done with that lawsuit or what the state and DSHS tried to do, we can essentially have that thrown out. And that is what we're trying to accomplish right now. So now I'm going to go through some of the bills that have been proposed and just give a quick recap, because I know everybody's asking what's going on, what about this bill, what about that bill? Forgive me, but I'm going to read from my notes because there's a lot of them here. So, marijuana penalty reduction, HB 127, 218, 224, 382, 388, 520, SB 87, and 208. All of those seek to reduce civil and criminal penalties for marijuana, which is awesome, right? Why are we putting people in jail for marijuana still? Marijuana penalty creation, HB 513. So, on HB 513, relating to the manufacture or delivery of a controlled substance or marijuana causing death or serious bodily injury. Marijuana legalization, SB 209. SB 209, relating to regulating the cultivation, manufacture, processing, distribution, sale, testing, transportation, delivery, transfer, possession, and use of cannabis and cannabis products. Hemp regulation, these are the two important ones, SB 321 and 264. SB 321 is relating to the production and regulation of hemp, and SB 264 is relating to the production, sale, distribution, delivery, and regulation of consumable hemp products. We've also got some for veterans in there, expanding on the ability of veterans to access medicinal marijuana. As you can tell, there's a ton of interest in hemp and marijuana this legislative session in Texas. We are in hemp. Hemp is a federally and state legal product. It's very different than marijuana. We don't really have a lot to do with the marijuana industry in Texas. It's a separate animal, and we're very neutral on that. So now we are trying to encompass the entire supply chain of hemp and really trying to work with everybody from the growers to the distributors to the manufacturers to the retailers, everybody. And it's important that we look out for all of them in this process. We're really kind of taking everybody under our wing and trying to do the best we can. So for this legislative session, really, it's all about us trying to protect hemp-derived cannabinoids within Texas the best that we can. We believe we're positioned very well to do that with the allies that we have between the veterans and law enforcement and the politicians and all these wonderful people that have stepped up to really help us protect what we do in Texas. It's very important. We're also working with educating the government agencies, whether it's DSHS or TDA, and help them understand more of what we do and how it's beneficial, especially to people like veterans that are dealing with PTSD and people with cancer dealing with all these other issues. We're getting reports that people are finding that our products are helpful for that. And it's very important for us that we're continued to allowed to continue to be able to do that. So as always, other states are going to be watching what we do here. Texas legislative session this year is very, very important because everybody else is going to be watching what's happening here, how they can implement this, what we do into their own state, and essentially help keep hemp-derived cannabinoids legal throughout the U.S. So thank you for joining us. We do have a webinar coming up next Tuesday at 11 a.m. We're going to have Jody McGinnis from the HIA, Cynthia Cabrera, who's our head of regulatory for Hometown Hero. I'll be there. We're also going to have some of our federal lobbyists and possibly some other people as well. So should be a good communication, good talk, and give you some more insight into kind of what our strategy is and what we're doing. And as always, please join us next week for our upcoming video series, and which we're going to be putting out every single week. This is our second one. Every week of the legislative session, we're going to be doing a video and putting it out, whether it's, last week was the Texas marijuana tax stamps, or, this week it's the legislative session itself and covering some of the details. We're going to constantly update you on what's going on and also give you some interesting tidbits about Texas cannabis history. So thank you for joining us. Wish you the best. Happy hunting. Talk to you guys later.